Hey guys, OGalbina here, bringing you guys another Draft League Twitter discussion. Today, we're going to be talking about the question I asked. It was actually almost the beginning of the month. Oops, my bad. It's been a couple weeks since I asked it, but I asked you guys over on Twitter. And by the way, if you do want to participate in the discussion, go follow me on Twitter and sub to the channel, obviously, so we can hit 2,000 subs. I'd really appreciate it. It's really easy and really free, and I heard you'll win all your Pokemon games if you sub to the channel. But regardless, let's go ahead and jump into it. Our question is going to be if you could add either add a typing or change the typing of a current Pokemon to make them better, what would it be? And this also works thematically. Like, we're not just randomly going to add a broken typing to a mon that's broken because it would be good. You know, I feel like it has to make sense thematically so that it's a likely thing or something that you could see happening in the future if Game Freak did decide to like revamp the typings of different Pokemon, things like that. Like, for me, personally, I said I would love to see the late Guardians get a Fairy typing. I think it would make them really potent offensively, really solid defensively, as well as Fairies. I think Renegade Platinum turned them all into Fairies, and I think that'd be awesome, giving them all Moonblast and, you know, things like that. I believe they all have Dazzling Gleam right now, but maybe giving them Moonblast and, you know, some other cool Fairy options. Maybe even giving Wish to the fatter ones or something like that. I don't know. I think it could be cool. And, yeah, it's kind of just a general example, but let's go ahead and do it. So, first up, and now there's going to be a lot of them that are like repeated and things that we've heard a million times before, but some of them are really cool. The first one is going to be Thriller here saying, personally, I think if anyone hasn't said it yet, I'd make Flygon Bug Drag instead of Bug Ground. I'm assuming he means Dragon Ground. And have the ability maybe like Compound Eyes or Tinted Lens to make its move pool. That can make its move pool has so much better. I think this would be cool if you made it into a special attacker, like we flip-flopped its attacking stats, which actually aren't that far off, to be completely honest. Let me pull up a calc really quick. Flygon. Yeah, it's 80. So, I mean, if we switch those and then, like, made it a Bug Dragon type with Tinted Lens, I think that would be super sick. And then it kept, like, Earth Power, Fire Move, stuff like that. I'm super here for that change. Big Aim with a cool suggestion, Psychic Steel Chimecho. It still wouldn't be strong, but it'll give it a better defensive typing with Levitate, too. I would love this. I don't know if any of you know this, but Chimecho is one of my favorite, like, unknown sleeper picks towards the end of, bottom of, or the end of a draft board. You see some cool moves it has here, and Healing Wish and Recover. It gets Wish, it gets Perish Song and things like that. It gets a bunch of really, really cool options. But it's really lacking in the stat department, and as a pure Psychic type, there's just a lot of pure Psychics a lot better. Now, Psychic Steel with Levitate is obviously a phenomenal typing. It's less bulky than something like Bronzong, but it has a really, really, really good move pool to kind of back it up, as well as, you know, reliable recovery, which is the big one. So I think that would be really cool. I'm super here for this change. Here's Kurt with his stereotypical, Kurt's not going to seriously answer the question. I'd give Tornadus Therian the flying type, even though it's my favorite bug dark type. It being a giant bird, but not being a flying typing is pretty silly. So there's a running gag right now, at least between me and my friends, and I'm sure other people joked about this too, where it seems like Torn isn't a flying type because you're never clicking Hurricane or Air Slash with it, because you're clicking Knockoff, Taunt, U-Turn the entire time. So it's basically a bug dark type with Hurricane coverage. You know, that's fair, Kurt. Alright, we have some pretty fun ones here. We have Porygon Z Normal Electric. I think this would be insane. I just typed in normal. Porygon Z. I'm doing it on this side now because it's kind of high with this stuff on. Set up. Porygon Z with an electric typing and adaptability and like Thunderbolts and things like that. This thing would rip through so many more common cores. Now, it doesn't need this typing, but like having a neutral stab option into the normal resist of the metagame, and a lot of those steel types and rock types and things like that would be a really valuable. So giving that plus, like, it obviously has Thunderbolt and Volt Discharge, but like Volt Switch, dude, that would be super sick. I would love a momentum electric type grabbing Porygon Z. Ice Fighting Abomasnow is interesting. It's a little bit less of a weak defensive typing, and it's a little bit stronger offensively, which is really cool. It has cool coverage moves as well when it comes to the, what do you call it? Physical and special fighting sides and things like that. So I could see it working. That'd be pretty cool. And then we have Bug Ground Flygon, which we just talked about, which would be cool. Next up, we have Aquarius here saying generic answers, but water psychic Golduck and water fighting Graplocked. We've talked about water fighting Graplocked, I think, in a video before, where it kind of just like become Urge Food, give it Surging Strikes, and it has Technician, so it would be really strong with that, but it also makes sense thematically, so I would be here for it. I know a lot of people are like, that's what Urge Food does. There's so many Pokemon that are carbon copies of each other that I think if you're upset about that, and maybe you're playing the wrong games. And then water psychic Golduck, it just makes sense. It's Psyduck into Golduck, and it has all the psychic moves and uses psychic powers. It could even be Radical Red Golduck with Neuroforce or something like that. But even without that, I think it would just give it a little bit more revitalization, and offensive water psychic could be really cool. So, next up, we have Marcus here saying giving Electivire fighting wouldn't make it good. But it fits and needs all the help it can get. Can't believe Game Freak never used that type combo for 8 generations to say how bland the pool of electric bonds are with their type combos. I agree. Either this one or Zeraora would be super sick to have. Now, I know he says it wouldn't make it good, but it would still make it pretty solid. I don't know if any of you guys play Radical Red and you see Iron Fist fighting type Electivire a lot of that time, and that thing's, your rival has it in most fights. That thing's really strong, and it's really scary. If it got like a Plasma Fist, Mach Punch type thing, you would have to kind of diversify its move pool, I think, outside of what it has now, to make it like good. But I do think it's a need above that, or Zeraora should get it. Dude, if Zeraora's part fighting, then won't be broken. That would be so good. Okay, next we have Jabber with 2 ETAB. You can fighting type to Wigglytuff because he's tough. We're just gonna move on past that one. And we have Meganium, Fairy type, and give it the rest of what Radical Red gives. Look at dude, Radical Red just changing the game. What a fun thing. And actually, for those of you who are watching to this point in the video, a little spoiler. On Monday, we should have a really cool Radical Red, but also competitive Pokemon-esque video coming out that I'm really excited to show you guys. So stick around if you do like the Radical Red changes and stuff like that. In particular. But we have Meganium with the Fairy typing. Now, in Radical Red, it also has Triage with Draining Kiss and cool things like that. And it's an amazing E4 Pokemon. It's an amazing Nuzlocking Pokemon. I think competitively, it would be decent. It would be worth a low-tier grass, opposed to Meganium, which doesn't offer much at this point. So I think that'd be fair. We also have another Fairy Grass option here with Florges. Giving Florges the added resistances would be cool, but I wonder like the risk versus reward of like the added weaknesses of Fairy added on top of the grass, like the 4 times poison weakness and things like that. Being that they already hard stuff you so hard and are such free switches on you, I don't know how much I would like that, but it makes sense thematically 100%. Next up, we have Skyrander saying I would probably just give Masquerain its water/bug type back. I think it's a real shame I lost it when it's evolved. I agree. I think Water Bug is actually a really strong typing offensively and really annoying to switch into Bug Move plus Scald. Like, it's really, or just switching into things that break Bug Move, or Bug types, plus Scald is really, really tough. And I know Masquerain can do that now, but getting that little bit of a power boost would be incredible. Not being always forced into Boots this generation would also be a really clutch aspect of that. So, I think that would actually be a great change. I would like that a lot. That plus Intimidate would be a decent defensive typing as well. You still resist ground, so you're not really missing out much from losing on the flying type. So, I like that. Next up, we have Eric saying Psychic Flying Noctowl, Water Dragon Lapras. It has more Dragon type moves than most Dragon types. Ground Electric Helios gets bulldozed by Level Up, and a Rock Grass Sudowoodo. So a lot of these are common, right? You see a lot from like Psychic Flying Noctowl, which would be cool, especially with Tinted Lens. Water Dragon Lapras, that would be, again, pretty cool. Water Dragon's just a phenomenal typing defensively. And then Rock Grass Sudowoodo, you see that a lot too. Especially, maybe Stab Woodhammer should be a little bit more threatening than the Woodhammers it has now. But Ground Electric Helios is a very, very interesting one. I'm definitely pretty intrigued to see if it gets any other coverage as Bulldoze. Now, I know it gets Bulldoze via Level Up, but I would love to see it get more coverage. Hold on, I had to open a team builder in the other tab in case I didn't want to, what do you call it? Reveal my teams. So let's look. Let's see, ground. Okay, work offline. Thanks, Sports, for breaking again. So that's a little bit unfortunate. Maybe if it got like Scorching Sands, I think that would be a cool option, or just Earth Power in general. Like some kind of good special coverage when it came to, you know, being a ground electric type. I think that would be really cool. But again, it's an interesting one. I've never really thought about that one. Next up, we have Vepsis saying probably going to be a pretty popular choice, but give Dark type to Duxbury and make a fighting type to Electivire. We've seen the Electivire one so far. We have not seen the dark typing for Luxray, which we will see, don't worry, plenty of times. But I think the dark typing to Luxray would be cool. Again, giving it just a little bit more offensive and defensive utility. Maybe giving it like a sucker punch, or just like, does it get sucker? I don't think it does. Good thing we have a team builder open now, right? Luxray doesn't get sucker, right? No, it doesn't. What dark moves does it get? I know it gets crunch and bite and night slash, throat shot, so it gets like pretty ample coverage from the dark side. I think it would be cool. I would be here for it. That plus Intim. Intim dark types are just notorious for being pretty solid Pokemon a lot of the time, so I could see it being pretty solid. And it obviously again makes so much sense thematically. They just I don't know why they didn't make it a dark type, but it looks like one for sure. Next up we have Arbok and the other Poison Snake, forgetting the name, Seviper. Poison slash dark. And Game Freak, please buff their move pools to include Power Whip. That would be pretty cool. I am a big Arbok stan. I know he's not really like objectively good, but like Intim and then 2 other decent abilities, plus a pretty decent attack. Like if this thing just got like 20 more attack and then like 10 more speed, or even just 5 more speed or something like that, I think this Pokemon would be really cool and really strong. It gets good coverage moves. If we're making it a dark type, it gets crunch, it gets sucker, I know that for a fact. It gets coil to set up as well, right? It better. And it gets some pretty cool coverage, like again, Aqua Tail, Ice Fang, Fire Fang. Does it get Thunder Fang? It might not. Seed Bomb. And then obviously like Poison Jab, Gunk Shot, things like that. So I think this Pokemon could be really cool. And I really like Arbok, and I always want to draft it. It's such a cool shiny too. Look at it shiny. But yeah, it's always really, really mediocre, unfortunately. Okay. Next up, we have Seth again saying Cell and Arcanine both picking up the fighting type. Going off of what I know their lore, they were both guard dogs and far aside alongside people and armies at one point. Now, I don't think Stoutland has the coverage to justify it unless we gave it more coverage. I think it gets superpower, but let's see. Fighting. I guess Reversal, Rock Smash. So and honestly, I feel like both of them would need to have their move pools buffed in order to kind of like justify doing that, because I know this gets close combat and superpower, but yeah, it doesn't get much more. It just basically gets close combat over Stoutland. So they both really lack in the fighting coverage, but I think it could be cool. Firefighting is a phenomenal typing, and normal fighting is also really tough to switch into. It's neutral across pretty much the entire game, especially with Scrappy. So actually, normal fighting Stoutland would make it a lot better, I think. Being able to hit everything very hard, and especially being able to hit those normal resistors very hard. I just realized I wasn't over here. Not bad. Look, there they are. So yeah, I think that would be pretty cool. Okay, next up we have Curse saying Celebi from Grass Fairy to over Grass Psychic. Block weakness, moving to Poison would hurt it, but at the same time thematically makes more sense. This is Fairy Stab. And Fairy Stab and losing to Dark Magician could be quite beneficial. I agree. It also makes it not 4 times weak to U-turn. It actually makes it neutral to U-turn, so it would be an okay ground resist. I would love this so much more. Now, Grass Fairy is not the best, most sound defensive typing, but it is leagues better than Grass and Psychic. So I am 100% here for that one. 1,000,000% here for that one. I think that would be great, obviously. Okay. Next up, we have Joe saying Electivire and Zeraora is part fighting type, which we did say that. And then we all wanted Luxray to be dark type, which we did say that. But of course, I'll read Joe's a wonderful plug, as per usual, because I help out all my friends. Thank you, Joe. If you see this and haven't subscribed to Owen, do so immediately. Joe said do it right now. Talon Master J is commanding you. So, go ahead and drop a sub if you haven't done so already. Alright. Next up, we have Rosemary God saying, I think maybe adding to the Rotom farms could create from some cool typings, like a music box Rotom that is either Ghost Fairy or Electric Fairy, would be pretty neat. Would be kind of neat. I know Rotoms are primary appliances, but I like the idea. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. I think the more Rotoms, the better. I think it's really cool. It's a really cool concept. I love the Rotoms. I have never met a Rotom form that I don't like either, so I'd be super here for it. Okay, next up, I have Imbivore Dark type Deluxe. There's another one. That's crazy. My honest answer, though, is giving Meganium a Dragon type would be pretty cool. My only wish for Grass Dragon and Meganium is that it gets better pivot move than Dragon Tail. I think does he mean Stab, but thematically fits. Yeah, I mean, if you gave it Dragon Pulse or something like that instead, that'd be pretty cool. Grass Dragon's pretty solid defensively as well. It takes away a couple of the weaknesses of Grass, while adding a 4 times weakness to Ice, but again, I don't think that's that big of a deal. for the price point that Meganium is, and it just give it something to differentiate itself from the other low tier grasses and make it worth using in something. So I'm here for that. I like Grass Dragon or Grass Fairy for both. It's crazy that it could be both, like, and it makes sense. You know what I mean? But yeah, next up, what do we have here? Sorry, I'm getting pinged somewhere. There we go. I have JK saying, making a battle on a groundwater type would be so fire, especially if it kept Sandstream. You have a ground that with decent synergy with Excadrill now without overlapping weaknesses. Would be better than Swampert in my opinion. So I think it would be really cool to get another water ground type. I think maybe if you gave it like Liquidation, that'd be cool. Obviously I don't think it really has a move pool for it. I think it has like Muddy Water already just because like it does. But I don't think that would be great. The only issue is like with like you know, sharing weaknesses with Excadrill is like you're still smashed by grasses, which is the tough thing. And I always yell this from the tops of the mountains. I think Hippo Drill is a waste of points because Hippo gets stuffed by everything Drill does, so you never find the offensive positioning to get both in. Now, Hippo itself is a good Pokemon. I like Hippo Zolt, but I do not like Hippo Drill, and I don't think this helps it too much in that sense. In the sense like grass types still smash 3 even more than before, so I don't know. I'm not the biggest one on this. This one is probably one of my favorite suggestions here in Zeke saying Sawsbuck depending on the season of form. Summer would be grass, normal, or fire. Autumn would be grass, ghost. Winter would be grass, ice. And spring would be grass, fairy. Of course, it gives them relevant stab, moves, and abilities. Summer could get drought, winter snow warning, fall curse body, spring flower veil. This would be so cool. Grass, fire, summer, Sawsbuck with drought would be so sick. And then you give it like blaze kick and oh man, I think this would be so cool. And this is such a neat idea to make something like Sawsbuck relevant. It'd be a really fast offensive Suns. Oh man, that would be so sick. Or you could even just give it chlorophyll and pair it with something else like another Sunsetter and it like pop like that. I like snow warning, winter as well. Grass ice is, you know, still cool typing if you have ample coverage. Give it like high jump kick or something. So I know, I think it would be cool. Electric Dark Luxray, ironically, we have gotten plenty of those, so we're going to move on to the next. We have Phil saying, give Core Squire Steel type. The Steel Flying typing is such a cool typing. Why would it would be nice for a lower tier mon to have it? I think that's a pretty interesting answer. I like that. I was not necessarily thinking like, you know, final stage mons only. It's something like Core Squire might be worth picking up or using as like a low tier mon if it had that Steel typing on top of that. On top of its fire as well as Eviolite. That's an option. So I think that'd be cool. Next up, we have Never Trust Jay. Can we please give the rock typing to Redogon? It doesn't necessarily improve the mon competitively, but considering its habitat and design, it just feels right. Honorable mention goes to Yamper and Bolton getting the fairy typing. I just think visibly it could fit them and they would become better. These are both cool options. Rock Dragon isn't necessarily terrible. I do agree in the sense that it doesn't really make it better. I actually probably prefer pure, what do you call it, dragon? But like the glare, like the gargoyle motif would work a little bit more. It lives in like mountainsides and things like that. You get Stab, Sheer Force, Rock Slide, which would be really strong in some matchups and on some teams. So I think that's pretty cool. And the Emperor, Bolt-on Fairy typing would be great. Any secondary stab for an electric type to use just makes it so much more viable. Stab Playgrounds could be really nice to have as well, so I'm here for it. Next up, we have Roar of Gumi saying, give Goodra the poison or water typing, but please, my boy needs this. Unironically, will make him a lot stronger, in my opinion. I agree. I think both of these options would be phenomenal. Now, we do have Dragon Steel Hisuian Goodra, but I think Dragon Poison is a great type we see via things like Dragology. Very strong offensively, and with a beefy enough stat, you basically resist Fairy, which Goodra does. It would kind of like eliminate all need to ever draft Dragology. I guess Dragology gets momentum though. Other than that, though, pretty much we just draft Goodra, and then Dragon Water with that thing's bulk, it would be pretty nasty, and then having like Stab Surf to throw off too would be really nice. So I'm here for it. I like both of these suggestions, and making Goodra better is always a good thing because like it's not that good considering it's a pseudo and it's like total BST, you know. Elu I said Triwing. I almost said Turtwig. I want to give Lurantis the fire typing. I don't know why, but Grass Fire is a cool typing. I don't know how it would really take advantage of that with Contrary. Maybe with, I don't know. If anything, maybe like Grass Fighting Lurantis would be cool. Just give it stab superpowers. And then we have Gyarados, Water Dragon, Air typing is always bothering me. Or flying typing, I suppose, has always bothered me. That's fair. It doesn't really look like a flying typing. Giving the dragon type would be pretty solid offensively, especially with Intim. It'd be great defensively. Yeah, I think that is just about it. I mean, look at our quote retweets. Make Electivire. Yep, there we go. Everybody wants it. So I know who's getting the thumbnail today. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys have any Pokemon that you think should either change their typing or get a typing added on to what they have currently, please let me know in the comments below. Again, drop a like if you enjoyed, sub if you're new. I'll see you guys in the next one. Later.